rather daunting experience to be talking at the very beginning, because I'm probably the only person who is speaking today who's not an expert in anything. Not only technology, engineering and design, but all the other wonderful things that people were talking about earlier on in the video. I'm also here not to speak, I suppose, as a member of the imperial family, although that's something that I cannot disengage from the rest of my personality, but as a person, and to give you what I've been told are supposed to be opening remarks, but that do relate to making a difference, which seems to be the theme of this particular session. And so, because I am not an expert, I thought I would just perhaps present some fundamental points which I refer to often when I make speeches or in my own daily life, the way I live. I believe very much that living on this planet is basically teamwork. The world is in a complete state of flux all the time. Teamwork is of the essence. We all have a role to play. There are games going on all the time, although perhaps game is not the right word. But there are goals. And towards those goals, we all have different roles that we have to play. When I speak about all of us, I mean not only the human species, I mean all living species on this earth, and all other forms that exist on this planet, because altogether we make this planet work. Now, in every teamwork we know that communication is of the essence. We have to communicate with each other. Communication by words is actually only the tip of the iceberg, because words are actually very, very dangerous, in that what we mean by a specific word, what I mean by a specific word, may be completely different from what somebody else understands that I mean. They are symbols, and they are related to what cultural background we have, what sort of upbringing we have, and the further you are away from each other in terms of geography or in terms of religion, the further away you are in meaning the same thing by the same word. The word school, for instance, or the word wedding. They conjure up completely different scenes depending on where you come from. And so communication must not rely on the word itself. When you communicate, you must understand the culture, the history, and all the meanings and all the background that that particular word has for the other person. In trying to do that, when you're trying to make that work, the only way you can do that is, of course, by reading, learning, but also by traveling. Because the more you are in contact with people of other cultures, the more doors you have, the more pockets you have, from which you can try to work out what the meaning is behind each word you're using. Communication is all that. Very often, we are perhaps pulled back by what we call our historical facts. Historical facts are historical facts. But what we understand of various historical facts are based on the way we think, the way we understand particular words, particular actions in our own time axis. Communication is understanding somebody else who is in another position. In other words, what we learn as children, as standing in another person's shoes, seeing something from another person's point of view. The same thing happens not only on the geographical axis, but it happens on the historical axis, and on that historical axis there is a plane. And in that plane is the cultural understanding of that particular era. It is very difficult to look back on history and for us to understand what each person in that era actually meant or wanted to do in the actions that happened then. So, on that note, perhaps I have to try and sum up and say, what is it that I think makes a difference? I think possibly the one word I would use is respect. Respect for all living things, respect for people of the past, respect for our children, and respect for our future. And we are the ones